Ilia Topuria is the fighter of the year this year because he accomplished what no one else in the history of MMA has done, knocking out both Holloway and Volkanovski in the same calendar year. No one's knocked out Holloway before, despite him facing some really heavy hitters. Volkanovski was unstoppable at 145, and he got stopped by Topuria. Topuria didn't just beat the top two guys right now in the featherweight division, he beat two of the greatest featherweights of all time, solidifying his claim as the best featherweight on the planet right now and the fighter of the year in 2024. Honorable mention to Alex Pereira, who headlined 3 UFC pay-per-views in under 6 months, and he knocked out all his opponents in those main events: Khalil Roundtree Jr., Jamal Hill, and Yuri Prochazka. Event of the year, UFC 300. It had really high expectations and it far exceeded them. Many great moments on that card, including the knockout of the year, Holloway over Gaethje, and the comeback of the year, Moicano versus Jalen Turner. Fight of the year, Ribovics versus Zell Huber. So many swings and momentum. Looks like one guy's going to get stopped, then it looks like the next guy's going to get stopped, and back and forth and back and forth. Fight of the year. Breakthrough fighter of the year, Joaquin Buckley, 4 wins in 2024. He stopped Luque, he stopped Wonderboy, he stopped Colby Covington. He was an average fighter at 185, dropped down to 170, and he's worked his way all the way to the number 6 position in the division. Comeback fighter of the year, Yusuf Zalal fought in the regional scene to get back into the UFC, and this year had 3 big wins, stopping all his opponents: Jack Shore, Billy Q, and Jarno Aarons. Upset of the year, Fernandez over Wang Tong. Wang Tong was a 12-1 favorite. Didn't matter, Fernandez won. Debut of the year, Mauricio Rufy versus Jamie Malarkey. Rufy looked like a prime Conor McGregor in there, which goes into the team of the year, the Fighting Nerds, which has Rufy, Jean Silva, Kyle Bahayo, and Carlos Prates. And Prates is my rookie of the year. 4 victories in 2024, all stoppages, stopping Neil Magny, stopping Trevin Giles, stopping Charles Radke, stopping Li Jingliang. On the other end of the spectrum, the worst decision of the year, Gane versus Volkov. Everyone saw it the way of Volkov, but 2 judges gave it to Gane. Split decision for Volkov. Worst decision of the year. Retirements this year, Stipe Miocic, 2-time UFC heavyweight champion. Miocic retired after his TKO loss to John Jones at UFC 309. Holds the record for the most consecutive title defenses in the UFC heavyweight division and will be in the Hall of Fame. Damon Jackson, after his submission loss to Jim Miller, also at UFC 309, announced his retirement. Matt Brown announced his retirement in May. He's known for his aggressive style of fighting and being tough as nails, so many exciting fights, and is ranked 2nd for the most knockouts in UFC history. Joanne Wood retired after her fight at UFC 299 against Marina Moroz, won a split decision, and called it a career. Jack Shore announced his retirement earlier this month, which was a little bit surprising. The Welsh bantamweight's only 29 years old. He had an impressive record of 17-3 to end his career. At one point in his career, he was one of the top prospects in the division. The UFC had 42 events this year. Ankalaev versus Walker 2 kicked off the year. No controversy in this one. Their first one ended in a no contest due to a legal knee, but no controversy this time. Walker lost via TKO. Then it was UFC 297, Strickland versus Duplessis. Duplessis won a close split decision in an entertaining fight. Before that fight, though, was one of the worst fights of the year, Pennington versus Bueno Silva. Then Amava beat Delize in a weird-looking fight. He won a decision in that one. Also on that card, 11-second no contest, super fast no contest. Muradov got eye-poked badly by Hizadiev. Then Jack Hermansson had a good performance as an underdog versus Joe Pyfer, winning a decision. He wasn't going to allow Joe Pyfer to use his name as a stepping stone to move up into the rankings. Anaheim, California got to witness a star being born at UFC 298 as Ilia Topuria knocked out Alex Volkanovski to win the featherweight title. UFC then traveled to Mexico, and Royval looked good as an underdog to win a decision over Moreno, and Ortega tapped out Rodriguez in round 3. Gaziev was gassed out against Rosenstruck. He was done. People thought his corner should have thrown in the towel, but they didn't. But Mark Goddard did at the end of round 4. Miami, Florida got to witness O'Malley with a decision over Vera, and Poirier knock out Saint-Denis. Tybura choked out Tai Tuivasa 4 minutes and 8 seconds into the first round at the UFC Apex. Rose Namajunas won a unanimous decision over Amanda Ribas, also at the UFC Apex. UFC traveled to Atlantic City, New Jersey, and Fiorot won a clear-cut decision over Erin Blanchfield to solidify herself as a #1 contender, and Luque got knocked out by Buckley in the co-main event. Brendan Allen won a decision over Chris Curtis, close and controversial decision, but good fight. Pereira knocks out Hill in the main event of UFC 300. 2 weeks later at the UFC Apex, Perez knocked out Nicolau in the main event. At UFC 301 in Rio, Urseg looked good, but ultimately it was Pantoja who won a decision victory in that flyweight title fight. And Jose Aldo looked great in a decision victory over Jonathan Martinez. In St. Louis, Derek Lewis knocked out Nascimento in round 3, adding to his record for the most knockouts in UFC history. The following weekend, the UFC went back to the UFC Apex, and in the main event, Lerone Murphy won a unanimous decision over Edson Barboza. 2 weeks later, the UFC traveled to Newark, New Jersey for Makhachev versus Poirier. Poirier got another title shot. Unfortunately, it ended the same way with him getting choked out. In the co-main event, Strickland foot jabbed his way to a unanimous decision victory over Paulo Costa. UFC traveled to Louisville, Kentucky the following weekend, and Cannonier lost by 4th round TKO against Amavov. He protested the stoppage. Nonetheless, it went down as a 4th round TKO. Back to the UFC Apex, and Perez injured his leg. TKO victory for Tyra in that main event. Riyadh, Saudi Arabia hosted the next event, Whitaker versus Alaskarov. Whitaker won via first round uppercut. At UFC 303, Pereira and Prohashka fight again, and the fight ends the same way as the first one in that it's a 2nd round KO victory for Pereira. Then on to Denver, Colorado. Namajunas beats Cortez in the main event. Punched her eyelash off en route to a unanimous decision victory. Credit to Cortez, though, replacing Macy Barber and taking this fight on relatively short notice. Back to the UFC Apex, where Virna Jandiroba wins by 2nd round armbar against Amanda Lemos. Then on to Manchester, England for UFC 304. As an underdog, Bilal Muhammad has a great performance, winning a unanimous decision over Leon Edwards to win the UFC welterweight title. Then the following week, on to Dubai for UFC Fight Night Sandhagen versus Nurmagomedov. Nurmagomedov wins the unanimous decision, catapulting him up the rankings and putting him into title contention and getting the title shot he has now. Back to the UFC Apex for Tybura versus Spivak Part 2. Spivak wastes no time, gets the fight to the ground. 144 into the contest, gets the submission via armbar. Perth, Australia got to witness a great main event at UFC 305 between DDP and Adesanya, which ended with DDP winning by 4th round submission. Bohayo was impressive in his decision victory over Cannonier. Then Brady won a one-sided decision over Burns. Incredible production at the Sphere at UFC 306. Belts changed hands. Merab won the belt against O'Malley. Grasso lost her belt to Shevchenko. 2 weeks later, the UFC traveled to Paris, where Benoit Saint-Denis lost by 2nd round TKO via doctor stoppage at the end of round 2. Then on to Salt Lake City, Utah, where Pereira defeated Roundtree Jr. in the main event, and Juliana Pena won back the bantamweight title against Raquel Pennington. Back to the UFC Apex the next weekend, and Royval stopped the ascent of Tyra by winning a unanimous decision. And the following weekend, also at the UFC Apex, Anthony Hernandez got a 5th round stoppage over a completely gassed out Michel Pereira. On to Abu Dhabi the next weekend, where Topuria knocks out Holloway and Chimaev taps out Whitaker. From Abu Dhabi to Edmonton, Alberta, where Moreno wins a dominant decision over Albazi. Back to the UFC Apex the following weekend, where Pratesh continues to impress, knocking out Neil Magny in the 1st round. On to New York City the following weekend, where John Jones stops Stipe in the main event in the 3rd round, and Stipe retires. Then on to Macau 2 weeks later, where Piotr Yan wins a unanimous decision over Davison Figueiredo. 2 weeks later in the main event of UFC 310, Pantoja continues his dominance in the flyweight division, tapping out promotional newcomer Kai Asakura, which led to the final event of the year, UFC Tampa, headlined by Colby Covington versus Joaquin Buckley. Buckley gets the TKO via doctor stoppage and moves to the number 6 position in the welterweight division. Great year for the UFC. Did you have a favorite moment? Let me know in the comments. Did you watch any of these events live in person? Let me know in the comments.